June 28th, 2023 episode of Dynamite. Absolute trash. Which, of course, we knew it was going to be. But my goodness. What a steaming pile of trash. Okay, we got to talk about it first. One note. We're going to talk about one note. Well, I guess two notes. One note. Ariel Helwani and Tony Khan going back and forth again, this time about the Khan family supposedly buying Bellator. Now, it was something that was floating around the internet. Ariel Helwani mentioned it on his show. And then that became Ariel Helwani is reporting that the Khan family is going to buy Bellator. So Tony Khan decided to address that at the Forbidden Door Scrum, or either before or after the show, one of the two, in which he alluded to Ariel Helwani routinely putting out fake stories. This is hilarious. It's pretty funny because I think the whole Bellator thing was started by the wrestling media. I didn't see it in any legitimate media. So it was basically like Ariel Helwani, his MMA is his beat. He doesn't know what the hell the Khans are doing. He only knows that Bellator is up for sale and that there are potential people looking into it. So for Tony Khan to, and it's really rare for Tony Khan to actually mention business stuff. Usually he goes into I can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. Yada, yada, yada. But on this issue, he was pretty flat that, him and his father have not looked into purchasing Bellator, which is good for Bellator, because if he runs Bellator the way he runs AEW, it ain't gonna help. Tony Khan runs AEW like a kid trying to buy friends. Like legit. It's like some kid, invites you to a party pretty much every day full of chips and cookies and the best punch in the world. And you're like, the first couple of times you're like, hell yeah, he's spending some money. I'm coming over and have fun. Then after a while, you're like, I don't know, man. It's like it's the same party every day, bro. I don't know what's going on. So he can spend all the money he wants. I don't think people still are going to like him more or less. But I guess it's good for Bellator that the Khans aren't trying to buy it. But it's also bad for Bellator because they really want to sell it and get rid of it. All right. Everybody's sick, apparently, too. That's another thing that we could talk about. Apparently, the Acclaimed got sick. Adam Cole got sick. Britt Baker got sick. And nobody knows what this mysterious illness is. Do they have COVID? Nobody knows. Do they have the stomach flu? Nobody knows. They've been very quiet about it. But Adam Cole was actually on this show, so maybe he wasn't too bad off. He's also touching people, so whatever it was might not have been contagious. But it was very interesting. Very, very interesting. That a mysterious illness is ripping through the AEW roster. Even so, this show ain't got no business being as terrible as it was. Let's talk about this terrible show. Jon Moxley, Tomohiro Ishii, which feels like the fifth time I've watched these two wrestle. And it probably seems like they've done this on this television show at least 3 times. At least twice. I think they've done this match at least twice. Tomohiro Ishii is a Ninja Turtle. But he's not a teenage mutant Ninja Turtle. He's an old Ninja Turtle. He's not even a ninja. He's just an old turtle. Jim Cornette called him a baked potato with arms and legs, which I feel like is a apt description of Tomohiro Ishii. All right? This guy sucks. I know that, if you're a New Japan guy, you're like, oh, no, he has really good matches. When the answer is no, he doesn't. He doesn't really have good matches. He has physical matches, but they aren't really good. He's got the athleticism of a bag of sand. This guy is no good. He's basically a walking punching bag. And the two of them just headbutting each other. I looked at these two tentative headbutts. Like they were just, you're supposed to get the idea that they're two rams, they're two bulls smashing into each other. But it's all these light head jabs. Like, why? Why are we doing that? Why are we jabbing each other with our foreheads? Why? Because it looks cool on TV? It doesn't even look cool on TV. And of course, Moxley split his wig open because it's Jon Moxley. What else is he going to do? Now, the storyline of this match, because they really did invest in story on this show, so it's a positive. Eddie Kingston came to ringside, grabbed himself a chair to keep the Blackpool Combat Club at bay, because he didn't want those guys to interfere in this match and beat up Tomohiro Ishii. Once Moxley won, which is of course he's going to win, Eddie Kingston applauded him for winning the match on his own. And then as Moxley was leaving, he bumped into Eddie Kingston, which Eddie Kingston was like, oh, okay. I'm old school New York. I'm old school New York. You bump me. I don't know what to do. I'll shoot up the train station. But he still continued to clap and all this kind of stuff and said Moxley doesn't need these guys. He don't need these guys, whatever. Backstage, Moxley and Renee are arguing. Like, he's arguing with his wife about what this big thing is between him and Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston barges into the conversation and says that he's glad that Moxley could do it on his own, that he doesn't need those three guys. He got his back all the time, but he can't abide by Claudio. He can't deal with Claudio. He hates Claudio. And so Renee is like, look, stop yelling. Everybody stop yelling. Everybody stop arguing. Stop fighting. Enough. I want you guys to kiss and make up. Says John Moxley like to kiss men. Kiss Eddie Kingston and make up, please. She didn't say that in those words. She didn't have to. All right. She saw John Moxley kiss a man before. It's right up his alley, apparently. Why didn't he just kiss Eddie Kingston, Bugs Bunny style, and then just get it over with? You know, and just call it a day. But apparently it doesn't work like that in this system. So Eddie Kingston is upset. He's very, very mad. Doesn't like Claudio. He storms off. Renee wants Moxley to fix this. Fix what's going on. Figure it out. Because you're best friends. You're best good friends. I want you guys to continue to be best good friends. This, of course, leads to the end of the Dark Order Elite match. Before we talk about that, we got to talk about the Dark Order and the Elite. Oh, my good gracious. The Elite. Hangman Page and the Young Bucks. They had a trios open challenge for the evening. That's what we were told. The Dark Order accepted that challenge. I immediately want to throw my TV through the window. At this point, Hangman Page even thinks it's a joke. Said, how about we make it a 12-man tag because it's like 12 of you guys? And they're like, no, we're serious about this. We're here to fight you. And Hangman's like, what? Why? And then they start going into this diatribe about how he abandoned them to join the Elite. They were his real friends. So Hangman, of course, is like, what am I, your babysitter? And they're like, oh, that's how it was? That's what it was? It's like, oh, no. I really should have pitched my TV out the window. Rather than listen to this, I would have rather let the stray cats have it. Stray cats, neighborhood children, you can have this TV. I should have launched this son of a bitch straight through the window. But alas, I kept it. And by the end of this trios match, I wanted to throw myself through the window. This match had no energy whatsoever. The Elite versus the Dark Order. For starters, when the Elite came out, there was no reaction to their theme song. None. You'd have thought Dana Brooke or Natalia came out there. There was no reaction. None. Everybody's looking at their phones. There's no interaction at all with the Elite. It seemed like it was coming out there during the Thunderdome. There was just no reaction. I felt bad for them. I'm like, damn. Do the people actually actively hate the Elite? You know, even if they hated them, they'd probably just boo them, right? Like, they didn't do anything. It was just no reaction whatsoever. So, the Elite didn't get any reaction. Dark Order didn't get a reaction. Come on. Who the hell takes the Dark Order seriously? So, throughout the night, this match, I should say, Hangman Page keeps getting taunted by the Dark Order. He doesn't want to fight them. He still thinks that they're his friends, but they keep disrespecting him. They're pushing him, shoving him. Fat Uno is punching him. He punched him 2 or 3 times. And then he finally smacked Hangman Page across the face, which was the ultimate in disrespect. So Hangman Page promptly turned around went outside the ring onto the ring apron, tagged himself in, then came back in to fight Evil Uno when he was standing right there the whole damn time. That's not how anger works. That's not how frustration works. That's not how any of this works. If a man smack you in the face and you like, oh, why I yoda, and then you go get outside the ring, tag yourself in, and then come back in the ring, that's ridiculous. You was already standing right there. You was already standing right there. It's not like the ref's going to disqualify you. We've already well established in AEW canon that you do not get disqualified for being in the ring too long. Fight him. And then when he did fight him, it was these weak jabberoni elbow strikes. It was so bad. This match was so bad. Now, it started getting like a little bit of reaction at the end because, the Young Bucks typically just throw everything at a match. And so near the end, the crowd started to wake up. The Elite win because, of course, they do. But this match is entirely too long. The crowd was dead and nobody gave a shit. Immediately after the match, the Blackpool Combat Club attacked the Elite again. They jumped on again. It's still going on. It's still going on. They're beating them with chairs. They're stabbing them with screwdrivers. There's all sorts of stuff happening. There's all sorts of things happening. Yuta's out there having a blast, beating Eddie Kingston with a chair. Guys are crushing people's throats. It's all kind of stuff. It's chaos, right? Just general chaos. At this point, Jon Moxley does his little shoulder thing where he, a little shoulder dance, and we've been taking each other to the limit, and some more stuff, right? We gotta take each other past our limits. And he starts challenging them to Blood and Guts, Boston, July 19th. Whatever it takes to end this, right? Whatever it takes to end this feud, I'm okay with it. It should be a light every man in this feud on fire match. That's what it should be. Light everybody on fire. Human Inferno match. The only way to win is to light everybody on the other team on fire. Like, just stack them like charcoal, all right? This sucks, right? But a lot of people are very excited about Blood and Guts. Of course, I never liked these Blood and Guts things. I'm just glad that I can finally see the end of this feud in the mirror. I can see it coming. I see the light. July 19th is probably over. Praise God. Praise God! It's probably over. Okay? Unfortunately, rather fortunately, I should say, Bryan Danielson ain't going to be there because homeboy broke his arm. Yeah, he snapped his forearm wrestling in a match that for no reason against Kazuchika Okada. It seems like every time Danielson goes out there and tries to have the epic match, he ends up injuring himself. How many times have he had these epic matches and he's been hurt afterwards? Or he needs to take a long break afterwards. He's almost as bad as Edge. Because people say that about Edge. Oh, Edge can't even wrestle a regular schedule without being gassed and injured. Look at Danielson. When was the last time Danielson had a really good match and was able to follow it? It's been at least a year. Every time he wrestles a decent match now, he got to take almost 3 weeks off. But now he's going to be gone for, I think, 8 weeks. Probably longer. Now, granted, he shouldn't wrestle that often anyway. But he's consistently injured. He's been consistently injured in AEW. They really enable his more reckless nature. So he's not going to be in this Blood and Guts match. They're probably going to end up replacing him with somebody. And since the Blood and Guts match is usually 5-on-5, let's see, you got Takeshita. He's going to be one of them. Maybe they bring Shooter Umino back in and they have him take Danielson's spot like he did at Forbidden Door, which seems to be the right way to do this. But, okay. no Danielson means that I'm just kind of shrugging on this whole thing. Look, I don't hate Moxley as much as everybody else does. I like him. I like making fun of him too. But I always say that Jon Moxley is like the John McClane of pro wrestling. Not necessarily the best at what he does, but he takes a lump of shit and he gives it back in equal measure. He just comes across like a blue collar tough guy. Not a great pro wrestler, so I don't understand where all that stuff's coming from. But as a brawler, fight you to the death kind of guy, yeah, I can see that. I can respect that. Same thing with Eddie Kingston. As a brawler, like, it's good thumbs up. But all this, he's a great professional wrestler is like, I don't know about that one. Like, yeah, I'm not going to co-sign that. But thank God this thing is going to finally end. I hope I never, ever have to watch Jon Moxley versus Tomohiro Ishii ever again. I hope I never have to watch him wrestle that goddamn sofa ever again. All right? Tomohiro Ishii, take your bum ass back to Japan and plant yourself there until you grow seeds. All right? Just please go away. Go away. This show was filled with people I don't like. This show was filled to the brim with people I do not like. And it didn't stop with Tomohiro Ishii. We're going to talk about some people who was even worse tonight. But first, MJF. MJF is out there. He's being exceptionally fake. Talking about congratulations to Adam Cole for getting sick. He wished he had thought of that gimmick. And Adam Cole's like, what are you talking about? I really was sick. So MJF said that Adam Cole is close to his level and that together they can run the company. And he starts coming up with all these duo things that they could do, all the hanging out that they could do, hang out over the weekend, and they can do things. He even got a shirt called Better Than You, Baby. And Adam Cole decides, okay, he will hang out with MJF this weekend. That's the plan. So for some reason, we're getting this now. So these two are they're buddies. Later, Roderick Strong shows up out of nowhere, talks to Adam Cole, says to Adam Cole, like, what are you doing? You can't trust MJF. So then Adam Cole tells Roderick Strong, oh, I'm just playing along. My question is, why is he playing along? What is he going to get out of this? That's why I'm like, play along for what? What's the benefit of playing along? Anyway, MJF comes back onto the screen and is like, look, it's bad enough you guys want me to wrestle every week, but you actually want me to sit through a whole pro wrestling show? Nah, I'm getting out of here. Come on, buddy, let's go shoot pool or something. I don't know what the hell he said. I wasn't paying attention. But he says, hello, generic white guy, to Roderick Strong, which is the best description of Roderick Strong. You couldn't describe Roderick Strong better to a police sketch artist. Right? You just draw a generic white dude and it will end up as Roderick Strong. So they end up leaving. So Cole and MJF, they're best buds. I guess. I don't know what's going on anymore. I have no earthly idea what's going on, man. But they doing this, so they're doing it. All right, whatever. Just let them do their thing. I don't care. I don't understand why MJF is in this situation. I don't understand why Adam Cole is in this situation. I don't know what they're going to get out of this. What's the point? But whatever. I don't know. I don't know what I don't care. But of all the things I didn't like on this show, Orange Cassidy, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Keith Lee versus Daniel Garcia and 2.0. I don't know what the hell they call themselves in AEW. I do not care. 2.0 are two of the most useless sacks of shit in the business. Now, I know I keep adding to that stacks of shit. If you made a human wall, like the old Aztecs or something, like they built walls out of human bones, you could take Natalya, Dana Brooke, Sanjay Dutt, 2.0, the Dark Order, and build a fucking wall that'll keep out all the fucking Mexicans. and the Somalians and everybody else out of this country. You could build a fortress with the amount of shit that they produce out of their bodies that they call professional wrestling. I absolutely despise all of them. All right? On a visceral, personal fucking level. 2.0 sucks so bad. This match was so fucking bad. It was awful. And look, it wasn't all of them. It wasn't all of them. But my God, it doesn't help that they were in it. And of course, of course they were in it. It was so bad. It was awful. How do you say awful in French? How do you say awful in German? How do you say awful in Portuguese or Arabic or Celtic? However, no matter what language you speak, pro wrestling is all one language, as you used to say. I speak the language of pro wrestling. The language of 2.0 is absolute garbage. It can only truly be understood by those who have the IQ of dishwater. These guys fucking suck. How they still have jobs, I will never know. How they are not relegated to Rampage or Dark or wrestling in a barn in Wyoming, I have no earthly idea. Why Tony Khan proceeds to put pen to paper to pay these sons of bitches, I will never understand. These people should pay him. They should pay Tony to be on this show. As bad as this show is, it's still on national television. 2.0 should have to pay him to be on this show. They are literally that bad. They suck so bad. But that's not even the point. The big picture here, the thing beyond 2.0 in their perpetual suckage. I mean, they've sucked the entire time. They sucked in NXT. They sucked earlier this year. They sucked last year. They sucked the juice out of everything. The only reason I don't go off on them that much is because the fat one is funny. Right? The fat one at least has some charisma. He can talk at the very least. Or should I call him chubby? I don't want to say the guy's fat. He's chubby. He's got a chubby face. He's like a cherub. All right? At least that one has charisma. At least he's funny. A lot of the people that I'm talking about, they're not even funny. That guy, at least, is funny. He does goofy stuff. He says goofy stuff. Sometimes he might get a chuckle out of me. And I'm like, all right. I don't like these guys, but that one's kind of funny. But when they're wrestling, oh no. All bets are off. Just toss it in the goddamn bin. Grind it into a fine paste. Feed it to the nearest stray dog. Who gives a shit? These guys suck. But beyond that, like I said, beyond 2.0, Keith Lee and El Hijo del Vikingo. So they try to do a spot where Keith Lee is supposed to catch Vikingo as he goes over the top rope. And then he's going to use Vikingo as a weapon to attack 2.0. That's the plan. And I know that's the plan because they ended up doing it after they botched it. They botched it tremendously, and it was funny. Now, it was funny because nobody got hurt. But Keith Lee, who used to be able to do these strength spots with the greatest of ease, can't do them anymore. Now, he can still barely lift Vikingo. That is not the Keith Lee I've been watching for years on TV already. This guy is regressing at a rapid rate. At least he doesn't look like an old man anymore. He doesn't look like Samuel L. Jackson in a fat suit anymore. So thank you. Thank you for coloring your hair at least. All right. I know it probably, upset you to have to, I don't understand why I have to wear the Just for Men. Why should I do these things? It is an encroachment upon my vision for my character. My artistic merits are being diminished as we speak. How could you do this to me, Tony? You asked me to shave my beard, my majestic facial hair. Do you not see it? Perfectly aligned, how it glistens in the sun. It's like, I don't know. Just shave that shit, all right? Color it, shave it, do something. Just stop looking old. So finally, he took somebody's advice and he just started to stop looking old. So he did that at least. So I'm gonna give Keith Lee some credit. At least he didn't look like an old Q-tip this week. Thank you very much, Keith Lee. we're doing the best we can. We're going to take one step at a time. How you managed to drop 96-pound El Hijo del Vikingo, I have no idea. How you managed to drop that guy, I don't know. He was coming at you too fast. But then even afterwards, he still had a problem picking him up. I'm like, what is going on? This guy's supposed to be strong. Has he not been working out? Look, there's a difference between, is he working out in terms of, is he still fat? All right. Is he working out as in, does he even still have strength? Right? Like, is he like at least lifting? Like, I'm not expecting you to go out here and, what they call intermittent fast and keto and slim down to 280 pounds or whatever. That might be too much. But at least, can you keep your functional strength and and the cool stuff that we liked about Keith Lee? If you out here dropping cruiserweights, bro, I don't understand what's going on. Like, you have regressed quite a bit. That being said, I legitimately felt bad for Keith Lee in this match. Not just because he's in this thing with Orange Cassidy, who I don't even see the point in ranting and raving about Orange Cassidy. It's just, I see Orange Cassidy more than I see my girlfriend. That hurts me to my heart to say. I see Orange Cassidy more than moving on. All right. In any event, I felt bad for Keith Lee because they created this spot in which Daniel Garcia was standing on Keith Lee's back, treating him like a stripper stage. All right. And he was standing on his back doing a little gyrating hip thing. And I looked at this and said to myself, how do you pitch that in the back room? Like, do you just walk up to Keith Lee like, hey, man, I got this idea for a spot. You're going to go down on all fours, and then my little ass is going to stand on your back and dance. Oh, sounds intriguing. Can I see this dance? Will people be throwing money? Will you be naked? And it's like, no. You're a powerhouse. You're a badass. These guys should not be mocking you. This guy is tiny. He should not be mocking you like that. Oh, boy. Beyond that, so beyond 2.0 merely existing, what pissed me off, because for God fucking sake, come on. Keith Lee looks like a goof in this match, because somebody's dancing on his back. Which, I don't know. It's like I still just brought out some chicken wings and waited for some girl named Champagne to show up and jump on his back next. Put some gigantic heels on Daniel Garcia with like fish in it or something. Put him in a G-string and everybody might have had a ball. But then you had Orange Cassidy. Again, I'm not going to rant and rave about Orange Cassidy. I'm just going to say Orange Cassidy pulling off his Bugs Bunny, Woody Woodpecker with his hands in his pockets, ducking and swerving around 2.0, and they botched it all up too, by the way. They were flipping and flying all over the place. I don't know what the hell was going on. All I know is they were in full Looney Tunes mode, and I just like, I don't even understand why I'm watching this stuff. I don't understand why I'm watching this stuff. I don't get it. I'm not getting anything out of this. Like, this is one of those things where you question your relationship with pro wrestling. Like, I'm really questioning, why am I watching this program? I need to catch up on my sleep. Right? Very disappointed in this match. Very disappointed. This was a tragedy. This was bad. This was an all-timer. This is all-time bad. So we're on a hell of a streak here with this Dynamite thing, man. It's looking real bad. It's not good. It continues to not be good. Chris Jericho cuts a promo backstage about how him versus Sting being in the same ring, it should be bigger. It should be on TBS. It should be commentated on by Tony Schiavone. And then tonight he's going to dig into the primordial ooze of Chris Jericho, into the Painmaker. You want to get dirty, Sting? Let's get dirty. You got all the time you want with the Painmaker. And I'm like, man, for starters, Painmaker is such a terrible name. It sounds incredibly generic. Secondly, we were never told what the Painmaker is supposed to be. So we don't know what it's like. You wear a spike jacket and you have face paint. What is that? What is that supposed to mean? I don't know. Anyway, Jericho is very excited. He's very excited for this match because he thought he was going to get his hands on Sting. He's going to beat up Sting. Okay, I'm cool with that. Painmaker Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin and Sting. A Texas Tornado match, which apparently means no disqualifications. Now, of course, because Darby and Sammy Guevara is in it, Darby's trying to die. Every time he jumps off the top rope or leaps off something, he's hitting things hard. He did a coffin drop, standing coffin drop off the top rope. Overshot it and then hit his elbow on the on the ground. I was glad that he didn't break it, but it looked pretty bad there for a moment. But the important part of this match features features Sting, really. Early in the match, Sting and Jericho are sword fighting with bats. They're jousting. They're fencing with bats. Why? I get it. They both carry bats. They're going tink, 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 tink. And then Jericho gets his bat knocked out of his hand. Then, of course, Sting and Darby take over. The bat thing is just never working out. I don't know how many times have they done this bat thing. They're gonna get into a bat joust with Sting and it don't work out. The big spot of the match, because I don't want to talk about this all night. Sting climbs to the top of the ladder. Bro, I swear to Jesus. Sammy Guevara is on the table. You're laying on the table. There's 2 tables there. Sammy Guevara's body can barely cover one of those tables. But they had 2 for some reason. Okay, sure. Darby, because he's the fucking idiot, he's the one climbing the ladder. Okay, so typical Darby Allin's going to jump off this joint. Nah. Sting climbs the top of the joint. I'm like, okay, Sting, don't do it. Darby climbs down and holds the ladder steady for Sting, which I'm fine with because that's his partner. I'm looking at this and I'm doing it in my head. I'm thinking Jericho or somebody is about to stop this. And I'm just sitting back waiting for a responsible party to get involved and stop this. They let Sting at 60 some odd years old jump off a ladder. He didn't make it. Okay. He barely made it. That's probably more accurate. He barely made it. He looked like he might have hurt himself. And I'm saying, like, with those 60-year-old legs, you never would have made it. Never would have made it. Never would have made it. All right? Gotta rethink this. Somebody should have been responsible and said, Sting, no. We're lucky you made it. Thankfully you made it. But I think it killed Sammy Guevara because he didn't get up for the rest of the show. He didn't get up. Now, look, I'm cool with Sting killing Sammy Guevara. If that's what it took to get rid of Sammy Guevara, I'm fine. But the collision between Sting when Foley barely hit, something off the top rope, people was like, oh my God, what the fuck is he doing? He's killing himself. When Sting did it, it's, oh my God, Sting is so great. Sting is so crazy. Oh my God, Sting, I can't believe he's doing this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, Sting, what the fuck are you doing? If you're going to wrestle, you don't have to do this stuff. That's what the kids are for. That's what the kids are for. Anyway, Sammy didn't move, so at least he sold that. So unless he was dead, injured, or that was just the end of his spot for the match, I was glad for it. Sting was down for a while, so he actually sold that. Sting doesn't sell shit usually, but he sold that. So this left Jericho in the ring with Darby. They was doing stuff. And then Sting showed back up. He made Jericho tap out to the Scorpion Death Lock. So the Painmaker Chris Jericho suffers his first defeat, which, again, I believe that we are chugging along towards Sting versus Jericho at Wembley. If that's not where we're going with this, I don't understand why we're doing this. All right, if you're not going to do Sting Jericho one-on-one, I don't understand why we're doing this. But since Sting has beaten like the Painmaker, let's just pretend that the Painmaker matters, all right? If we're treating it like it's a big deal, that the Painmaker is a big deal, and Sting beat him, and that's supposed to be the best version of Chris Jericho, the most dangerous version of Chris Jericho, what is Jericho going to do that is going to make him a challenge for Sting? Is he going to have to beat Sting with these bats covered in barbed wire and smash him over the head with a bomb or something like that? Is he going to transform into a cyborg or RoboCop and twist his arms or something? Like, what is he going to do? There's no answer to these questions. My guess, and I'm just guessing, is that that was not the planned finish, and that was a finish that they just came up with on the fly. Because something tells me that Guevara was hurt. Now, I would definitely be surprised if he wasn't hurt. I would definitely be surprised if he wasn't hurt. But it was an awkward jump. It was an awkward landing. It got awkward afterwards. I don't know. It just comes across as something that didn't end the way that it was supposed to end. Especially since they went right and almost immediately off the air when that match was over. Like, there was no let them soak it in moment. They stand up and raise their arms. Sting was laying on the ground, bleeding out of his mouth. And the camera was on Sting. Didn't show Darby. Didn't show Jericho. It was just on Sting laying on the ground. He wasn't standing up, triumphant, celebrating with the crowd or nothing. So I'm like, was this the planned finish? Or was this completely, they came up with it on the fly? That could be the conspiracy theorist in me, thinking they just made this thing up on the fly. So, whatever. I'm not entertained by the spot fest. I don't care about those things. I don't care about this story. I'm not invested in this story. Because I don't like Sammy Guevara. I just don't like him. I just don't like him. He sucks. Moving on. Ruby Soho defeated Alexa Nicole, who was the stand-in for Britt Baker. She actually defeated her using Britt Baker's finisher, the Lockjaw. So after the match, Ruby Soho says that Canadian's Finest was not her original opponent and that the filthy country made Britt Baker sick. Then she says she hopes that Adam Cole and Britt Baker don't have kids. They'll be some weak little bastards. Then they started talking about when she first came, how nobody knew who she was. She didn't know who she was. But she loves who she is now. And Britt Baker is a shell of herself. She's a shell of her former self. And that the fans have turned on Britt. They criticize her just for sneezing in the wrong direction. I was... promo. It was what it was. I see why Ruby doesn't talk that much. But I'm not really big on the post-match promo anyway, because they always breathe all super hard into the microphone. It's like, okay, go formulate your thoughts. Let's come back after you've, come down a little bit. Not too many promos have been really good after you've just had a match. There's not many that have been really good. Some of them, but not many. But at least they got her on the show. She won a jobber match. She furthers her story with Britt Baker. I'm actually fine with this. Jack Perry. Let's talk about this real quick. So Jack Perry comes out. Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jungle Jack. He's wearing shades. He's got a leather jacket. That's how you know he's a heel. He's wearing leather. He comes out there and says for them to cut the music because the crowd has ruined that song for him and you'll never hear it again. Ooh, okay. He says, he walks to the ring. He's walking and talking. Gets in the ring, says that he's still young, cashing fat checks and banging the hottest bitch in the company. Which, okay, sure. At least some of those things are true. At least he's speaking the truth at this point. Even though I kind of question whether Anna Jay's the hottest, but she's on the list. He says after being robbed of 2 world titles, he's not going to sit by and watch a second generation douche dangle a championship right in front of him. Then said that the title is not recognized, so he doesn't recognize Hook. But he knows what that championship means to Hook and his family, and that's exactly why he wants to take it. Then he says he's going to beat the shit out of Hook. And Hook, music plays. He comes to the ring. Jack Perry runs. Hook chases him. He actually chased him throughout the building. And then they did an actual entertaining thing. And Jack Perry sprinting across the parking garage, diving head first into a van, and the van took off, which I thought was actually funny. All right, I actually enjoyed that part. And Jack Perry and Hook are of similar size, so it's not like, Hook is chasing Brian Cage out of the building, which AEW would do, and they would absolutely do that. They would have Brian Cage turn around and run away from Hook. But since Hook and Jack Perry are around the same size, okay. Now, we're going to look at Jack Perry's promo. Jack Perry is not a good promo. He's not. The content of this promo was butt cheeks. All right. It's just, he seemingly had nothing to say, really, and was kind of searching for something to say. The meat of it was basically he was jealous of Hook. Hook has a championship. He doesn't. But Hook's championship is not real, but it means something to him. So he wants to take it, because it means something to Hook. Jungle Hook was only a thing because of him, but it was stupid because he was the one who said that he wasn't going to be in a tag team anymore. So it wasn't like it was Hook's fault that he decided to do the Jungle Hook thing. Whose idea was it? It was Jungle Boy's idea. Whatever. But the delivery, which is usually the problem with Jungle Boy, is he has no force, no spine, no oomph in his voice. He found a little bit of it here. He still doesn't have charisma. He still doesn't come across as being smooth or forceful or threatening. He comes across like a chicken shit, and that's how they're going to portray him, which is fine. So I don't know if I'm willing to give it a C in terms of a passing grade on a promo. It's certainly better than he would have done, usually. Again, them forcing him to cut promos will make him better at promos. So as long as they keep forcing it, it ought to work out. Why Jack Perry didn't have the girl with him, it seemed like a natural thing to put the girl with him. He comes out with the girl. He talks about how bad the girl is. He turns her around and shows her to the audience. They get a chance to boo as they're very cocky about it. That'd have been much better. And he could say, like, who the hell wants to be the world champion? Who the hell cares about world champion when I got this? I would rather have this than a belt. I would rather have this than yada, yada, yada. And it would have also been nice if it could have been a legitimate reason why he attacked Hook. Or he could have just said, just generically, I don't need anybody. I don't want anybody. It's not just that it's Hook. I just don't want him. And then after him and Hook get into it, he could decide, as a way to hurting Hook's feelings, I'm going to take that title from him. Which you literally could just take, because you don't have to win it in a match. It's not sanctioned. You could just steal it if you want to. But it's sort of what I said it was going to be, in terms of Jack Perry failed to win the world title, got jealous because his partner had a title, and decided he was going to take his partner's title. But since it's a non-recognized belt, you really kind of have to question the heat of this thing. If it was the TNT title, or that ridiculous All-Atlantic belt, the international belt, that would be one thing. But since it's a non-sanctioned belt, it's basically just a trinket for personal pride, which I guess is okay. Two twinks having a feud, though. All right. I don't know. I don't understand why everybody's acting like Hook is Taz. Like, Hook's gonna kill you. I'm like, what? Hook ain't never wrestled a real match on this show yet. He's been there 3 years. We acting like Hook is some kind of certified killer. Like, who the hell did he beat? He ain't beat nobody. He ain't never done nothing. Hook is going to kill you. I'm like, what? I wouldn't take that seriously. Like, and that's how Jack Perry should have responded. Everybody's like, Hook is going to kill you and whatever. He should be like, Hook? What? Who Hook ever beat? Like, and that's where he could go down a list of all the things that he's done over the years. He's been a tag team champion. He's wrestled matches with guys like MJF and Cody, and he's been, holding his own against, all these top guys. Hook ain't ever wrestled nobody. That should have been the angle he went with. Like, Hook is untested. He ain't never beat nobody. He ain't never done nothing. Hook ain't no badass. He like to eat potato chips and play video games. He's a loser. He ain't got no bitches. There's a lot of things you could have gone with, that would have added elements to his character. But I think that's the big issue, is what is his character? Like, is he jealous of Hook? Does he think because jealousy and envy, it comes from a place of superiority. So he had that part right. He's saying, I'm better than you. Therefore, you should not have a title. I should have it. That's jealousy and envy. Whenever somebody is jealous of you or envious of you, typically they're putting themselves above you. Because you don't get jealous of people who are, equal or whatever. You get jealous of people who you believe don't deserve what they have. So in terms of psychology, it makes sense that Jungle Boy puts himself on a higher plane than Hook and sees that he was fighting for world titles while Hook just has his little gimmicky belt. But he should have said that. He should have just said, I'm fighting for world championships. I'm fighting for something real. You're carrying around your daddy's balls. You're still walking around with your umbilical cord around your waist. Something. As a way of belittling Hook and that title and that championship, but you're really jealous of it. You really kind of wanted one for yourself. And even could have, there was nothing wrong with adding the Luchasaurus thing to it. Saying Luchasaurus becoming TNT champion inspired something in him. Woke him up. Showed him that there's got to be a better way. Than doing it the way that he's been doing it. Like, there's a lot of different directions you could have gone with. But AEW isn't a company that really thinks too much about psychology and characters and stuff like this. But they got the basics, all right? The basics is Jack Perry thinks he's some big shot. And he thinks Hooks is nothing. But that's generic heel stuff, Every heel thinks that he's hot shit. And the babyface ain't nothing. That's pretty basic, But at least he started in the right place. I'm going to give him credit for starting in the right place. They have to convince me that Jack Perry is legit. All right. But because when he was talking, I was like, I don't know if I believe what he's saying. I don't know if I believe that he can beat the shit out of Hook. I think that Hook versus Jungle Boy is two crash dummies smashing into each other. They're going to go out there and try to have a pretty match and not have a fight. This is something that you need to have fights. They need to be fighting. They're going to go out there and do a bunch of choreographed shit. I already know it because that's how Jungle Boy works. And I don't see how he would change it just because he's a heel. Because his friends don't. Adam Cole doesn't change what he does when he's a heel. The Elite don't. None of these guys change what they do when they're heels. They still do all the flippity-doo-dah shit they still been doing before. Sammy Guevara, same thing. So I suspect that his matches will be the exact same. But it needs to change. His whole philosophy and everything needs to change. Again, when you turn a character heel, it's best to take away all the things that the people liked. They already started, again, with the basics. They're going to get rid of the theme song. Good. That's a good start. All right? So now take away Jungle Boy's moveset. Maybe make him cut his hair. I don't know how he would look with a haircut. But take away all the things that people liked about him. Make him look different. Make him talk different. Think different. Wrestle different. Act different. You could reinvent this guy. Instead of just being heel Jungle Boy, he could be something else. I'm going to be very interested because I want to give him a chance. That's why I'm talking so much about it. I want to give him a chance. I don't want to shit on him just because historically he's been garbage. Because the guy's still young. Like he said, he's still young. I give him the same burst that I give the NXT talent. Except Jungle Boy was put on a pedestal a little too early. Him and Sammy Guevara, they put on the pedestal a little too early. So they get hyper criticized because they were told these were the Golden Boys or Four Pillars. If they were just treated like really high level prospects, I think people would be a little bit more generous with Jungle Boy. So since he's trying something different and he's trying to make himself interesting and he needed to turn heel, okay, I'm willing to give him a chance. So even though I don't think this promo was great, I think it was a fine start. They need to find something that works. And since he's not going to be doing Jungle Boy anymore, I'm sorry, you need to get rid of Jungle Boy. Just get rid of it. Don't even call him that anymore. His name is Jack Perry. You could switch it up, call him something different, give him some kind of, I heard people say use Hollywood Jack Perry. I wouldn't use that because it's probably too close to, his dad and everything. It might be a sensitive subject. Come up with something else. But it's got to be something else, something that he can realistically convey through promos, and something that's going to be believable to the audience. But Jungle Boy as a tough guy, I'm not buying that. That's like I don't buy Hook being tough. I don't buy it. You wear a hoodie and you have like anime hair. Get out of here, kid. Like you're the you're the kid that shows up at the Comic-Con and sits in the corner. No. You're not the guy I'm scared of in the alley. Get out of here, all right? That's the show, I think. That's the whole show. Yep. That is it. Oh, no. One more thing. Johnny TV. Has there been a guy who is so talented that has so much bad luck as John Hennigan? John Hennigan has got to be, it's almost Terry Taylor level of guy has a tremendous amount of talent, but my goodness, he has such bad luck. Bad gimmick after bad gimmick after bad gimmick. Now he's hanging out with QT Marshall. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is Weekend at Bernie's right here. He's dead. Right? Johnny TV, this shit is dead from the jump. All right? He's a corpse with arms, with a QT Marshall moving his arms and legs at this point, dog. It's over. He's in a worse spot than his wife is. Has there ever been a guy who's been so talented and yet been so fucked by so many promoters as John Morrison? Like, man, this guy, like, it's becoming truly a sad thing if you're a top guy in Impact and nowhere else. Like you're a top guy in Impact, but literally that's it. Like him coming into AEW as everybody does his style of work, and he is relegated to Rampage. That's not even funny. It's not even funny. It's sad. You got bums like AR Fox who managed to get on Dynamite at least. But Johnny, he gets Johnny TV. That's what we got for this guy who's been in the business for a long time, former world champion in Impact. We're supposed to respect Impact. Guy has charisma. Guy has potential. He can do the flips. But all we got for him is Johnny TV. That sounds like something you would give to a bum hanging out outside the building. Like this guy keeps showing up. Give me a chance, Tony. Just give me a chance. I'll do whatever. Just give me a chance. All right. I'll Johnny TV. All right, go hang out with QT Marshall. That sounds like something you would do with that guy. Not somebody with some actual talent. Now, I'm not saying that John Morrison should be main event or world champion or anything like that. I'm saying that AEW is a company that is tailor-made for somebody like him. He's on the slender side. He's not a huge guy. He doesn't really have that much aggression in his offense, but he does really cool flips and he does cool spots. He's very creative. AEW is perfect for this guy. How he managed to fall down to this spot is beyond me. Especially when you have so many bums occupying the upper echelon of this company. That's truly sad. But Johnny TV, oh, that stinks. That shit stinks. I feel bad for that guy, man. I feel bad for him. Anyway, thank you all. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.